Okay, guten Tag, Herr Mann.
Yeah, guten Tag, Toni.
Yeah.
Guten Tag.
Yeah, this team.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the state.
Yeah, we are glad to have you to be our a person that we can know more about Germany. Yeah, as far as I know, you're a local German, is it?
Yeah, I'm born in Germany. I grew up in Germany. I did my education up to university education in Germany. So yeah, I can consider myself local.
Mm. So can we know more about maybe yourself? Your family in Germany.
So myself, I grew up in the west of Germany, and at that time when Germany was still divided. I did my university education, so I studied history and German studies, German literature and linguistics at the University of Bochum, which is in an industrial area of West Germany. So my wife is a school teacher for German and history as well at the secondary school, upper secondary school. My daughter currently studies in the United Kingdom law, and she has grown up in Hong Kong, but did part of her schooling in Germany as well.
Okay, maybe we can talk about more about your daughter. Can it be? As far as I know that your daughter is studying university in UK, but why didn't she choose those universities in Germany?
She's studying law, and the legal system in continental Europe is different from the common law system in the Anglo-Saxon countries like USA and England. And she prefers to work more internationally after graduation, so therefore she is quite, that's her choice to do the degree, her first degree in the UK, but she plans to do a second degree after she finishes her studies in Oxford in Germany as well, to get the chance to practice as a lawyer in Germany as well. So she wants to have two degrees.
So after her graduation, would she choose to work and live in Germany or travel around the world internationally, work in different places?
I think if you ask her right now, she would prefer to work in Hong Kong because she likes the place and she grew up here and she has many friends in Hong Kong. So, but you never know. She did a year abroad in New Zealand, in Auckland, and by that time she really was interested in studying, in working in New Zealand. She loved the place as well. So I think it's pretty open. The 21st century doesn't really somehow bind you to one special place. You have to be quite flexible.
This is globalization.
Yeah, right.
But
there's a lot of places.
Yeah, but as we know that we have heard of a plan proposed maybe by the government, the German government, or those industry tycoons, and is that the university students in Germany can take part in a plan that they can have both studying and working during their university life.
They spend 2 or 3 days a week to study in the university, and then spend the rest of the weeks just to work, to have some vocational training in the industry they're going to pursue.
So would it be an incentive for your daughters to go back to Germany, or what do you think about these plans?
I think what you refer to is what we call as duale Studium, the dual studies, so in combination of work or on-the-job training and university studies. I know that it's quite popular among some graduates right now, the secondary school leavers, to go into this system because they get a little bit of money already, and you have, through this on-the-job training, better job prospects after graduation. To me, it seems, I think a well-founded university education is the best guarantee for a good job in the future. So I think this is to me a little bit, let's say, a lower level of university education, because this time you spend on the job training will take time from your academic training, and you know how busy you are as students in a 3-year bachelor program. In some way, we have to keep in mind that the whole German university system was reorganized according to this so-called Bologna process. I don't know if you've heard about that. With the unification of Europe and the European Union trying to get to make our degrees in different European countries more compatible with each other.
Oh, okay.
They introduced a system that we have a bachelor and master degree in Germany as well. Before, everybody going into university did a master degree. There was no bachelor degree. So the minimum period of study was 4 years, and after that you could start with your master thesis and exams. So actually it was 5 to 6 years in total. And now with this Bologna process, which is not only in Germany but in France and Spain, Italy as well, they have cut the study time to 3 years, and an additional master program on top for 2 years. So this is something the German universities were not prepared for. People don't really understand the system. Like my brother is a chair professor in a university in Germany, and he has never worked in an English or American or British system. So for them, this kind of approach is pretty strange, because how can they train students within 3 years if they had before about 5 years for training? So, and I think in this context you can see that they try different ways now of combining these kind of vocational education, like on-the-job training, with university studies. To me, actually, it seems to be more like the older system of vocational school, and they just try to upgrade our vocational schools into university training. It's like kind of name changing.
But that was not compatible between the two things, is it?
I think Germany had a very well-developed vocational training in the past. So we did not require everybody to have a university education, because you did a university education if you want to get a real kind of academic profession. You become a school teacher, or you become a lawyer or a doctor in a hospital, something like that. If you wanted to work as an insurance broker or in a bank, you just finished your Abitur, your A-levels, and then you don't go to university, you just went into a bank or into an insurance company. At the same time, you had this kind of 3 years vocational training. So that means 2 times a week or 3 times a week you went to school, or sometimes in blocks during term school break, and then the other time you spent already in the company. And I think that went quite well. And after 3 years of training, if you did a examination in front or before the Chamber of Industry of Commerce, or some kind of, for these special trades, some kind of special institutions, and you did a kind of examination in the vocational school, and with this you received a degree. So that means people were really very well trained and motivated, and when their grades and examinations were good, they could continue to work in that bank or in that insurance company.
And that means Germany really have a good vocation support for those students. But would it be too many labor force? Because we have heard that some industries in Germany is going down, like the steel, the coal, or maybe the car industries.
It's very popular in the past.
Car industry, let's say, is generally still doing quite well when we look at BMW, Mercedes, because they export to China a lot. So there's a lot of demand for these kind of cars, high quality cars in China, and that is a very big market. But for, let's say, General Motors, Opel is a German car company which is closing down plants right now, because they are basically, that is an American problem actually, going into the German market. The steel industry has big problems, and the area where I come from is an area of traditional heavy industry, so steel and coal, and we had to restructure. All the coal mines have been closed since the 1970s. There are still very few running because, of course, coal produced in China is so much cheaper than in Germany, so even the transport costs are irrelevant. So, of course, you have to import coal from China, even though this is produced under much worse security conditions, and the coal mines in China are not as safe as they are. So in some way, these are, with globalization, you have all these kind of problems. We have very high security standards in Germany, so that makes, of course, this kind of co-production more expensive as well. Steel is more cheaply produced in third world countries nowadays than it is in Germany. German workplaces are quite expensive, so because the salary is high for workers. At the same time, we have a very well developed social security system, so we have to
taxes.
So the companies have to pay for the pension scheme, for health insurance, so that is always paid 50% by the employer and 50% by the employee. And so this makes everything what is produced in Germany quite expensive on the international market. But
So do you think this is good, that the employees and the company pay together?
Of course, this is good. This is an achievement we have since the Bismarck reforms in the 1870s. So this was a role model for the rest of the world in a way, for social security system and workers' protection. I think it contributed to the development of a very good workforce, and that is the big asset of German economy.
But would it be too good? Is it because I've heard that, and you said your hometown, those steel and coal industry has collapsed. So would the people living in your hometown find it difficult to have a job, or the employment rate will be too low? Is it?
Yeah, we have an unemployment of about 15%.
Wow,
which is very high. You have that in these kind of structural weak areas in the United Kingdom as well. So they have to, in some way, restructure, maybe go into modern industries, go into whatever computer industry and so on. But for this, you have to have a very, very good workforce as well. So you have to invest into education and training. And I think this is the most important thing.
The best part of Germany, is it? Okay.
So you mean a human capital for Germany?
Yeah. Is it really an advantage of Germany, because German are renowned to be diligent, hardworking, to really to really take part in the job seriously?
I think.
Yeah, would the modern German still have these kinds of characteristics?
Okay, this is a very good question. I think it's, of course, these kind of values are decreasing. One German chancellor talked about a fun society. He said the young people maybe their focus nowadays is more fun than hard work. I think there should always be a good balance between both. You should not just work like an ant, and you have to have a kind of balanced life
and work.
And I think we still, in international comparison, quite good with that. And what I mentioned before, people have a certain pride in their work because they are skilled workers.
Yeah, they have certificates.
They have certificates. Let's say even a hairdresser or a butcher has that.
Yeah.
So by knowing that what I do, I'm well trained and this is my profession. So through this certain pride in their job, of course, they work more kind of thoroughly and diligently and look at the outcome. When you have a system where people are not trained and everybody can be a hairdresser, I just open a shop and that's it, then you have a totally different approach to these kind of things. And and hopefully the German system will continue to nurture this kind of values of workers. But you only can nurture this if you give them really the recognition and the pay. When I look at the strikes in Hong Kong at the moment, I think you have to pay people well to work well. This is one positive thing in the German system as well. We had very kind of responsible trade unions, but at the same time they were strong, and there were these employer associations, and the trade unions always have to regularly come together and discuss about payment. Yeah.
But
so the trade union is quite strong there. They are very influential.
They're still strong, but they have been weakened over the years. Yeah, there are some measures which
against their influence.
Yeah, so actually salaries in Germany have not gone up over the last 15 years.
15 years?
Yeah, you can say so.
Oh, okay.
And this is not a positive development.
Taking account into the inflation, I mean, their wages are actually
become lower.
Decreased.
Yeah.
If you compare this with other European countries as well. So the people are complaining about that.
So would the living of maybe your wife becomes more difficult in Germany?
Yeah,
because
especially after the financial tsunami and the economic structure.
And you have said the salary that's a really keep track of the inflation for 15 years.
Price of the goods are increasing these years. Have you ever noticed that when traveling back
I see that people get a little bit more impatient or dissatisfied with the situation. I read articles and just comparing European countries, and obviously in France the situation was much better. There were much more pay increases. I'm not an expert on that, but my wife is working in a secondary school, and they have a status of being civil servants. So this is a pretty safe and secure environment. So it's a bit different. But I know from other friends who work in industries that the pressures have increased. So they feel much more pressure. Maybe the workplaces are reorganized so that less people have to do the same work than before. And of course the situation in East Germany is quite different. Quite a number of people are quite dissatisfied there, but that is the structural system. The East German socialist system was very egalitarian, and even the East German constitution had put down that you had the right to work. So it was your constitutional right. You could not get unemployed in the East German system. So that was different, but this is a different story maybe. But the unification still has some impact. So the salaries in East Germany are still up to 10 to 20% lower than in West Germany. So my brother is working at a university in East Germany, and according to the pay scales, he gets less as if he would work at a West German university.
Okay.
So is the economy in West Germany much better than East or the
Yeah, I think so, because of the restructuring of the East German industries. They had to close down quite a lot of these companies because they were not internationally competitive. So the unemployment went up, and West Germans, like even my wife, has to pay a solidarity tax for rebuilding the East. So that was introduced in the
Is it the tax up to these days? She still have to pay the tax.
So it started 1990, and now it's already 23 years. And now the government decided to extend this kind of solidarity tax system. So every person paying tax in West Germany has to pay a certain percentage on top of his or her tax bill to pay for the Aufbau Ost, so the rebuilding of the East. And I remember that when I went with my wife to travel to the East to visit my brother, we were so amazed how well renovated the cities were.